The path of vengeance is brutal and unforgiving. It's a path that strips away everything from a character: humanity, sanity, relationships, body, and soul. Though despite the immense cost of choosing this path, it's a path many characters still choose to walk. Characters like Scorpion, Kratos, and John Wick have chosen this path, deciding that no price is too high in the pursuit of retribution. But what makes their stories compelling isn't just the path they walk or the prices they pay. It's how the path changes them that makes them truly memorable. Did they find peace or more suffering? Did they achieve righteous justice or did they lose more than they avenged? It's what they choose to be after they walk this path that cements their legacy. For some, their stories end alongside their vengeance. For others, they seek redemption for the destruction left in their wake. But Scorpion? He never even had a chance for closure. Even after Scorpion had his humanity restored, NRS shackled him in an endless cycle of vengeance and blind rage, trapping him in a narrative limbo, forcing him to repeat the same story over and over. In Mortal Kombat 9, Scorpion achieved false vengeance, manipulated by Quan Chi into taking the life of an innocent Bi-Han. Then, in Mortal Kombat X, Scorpion learns of the truth, and despite his newfound humanity, the demon within him resurfaces. Blinded by rage, Scorpion rushes to vengeance, killing Quan Chi and squandering the chance of restoring Revenant allies and friends. And then, when he thinks he's finally free from his past, Mortal Kombat 11 rips his wrathful MK9 counterpart from the past to manipulate his rage again with the debut of Kronika. Scorpion deserved better. He has fought through the Netherrealm and back, enduring the searing flames of his own rage in hopes of avenging his family and clan and starting anew. Scorpion deserved a chance for redemption, to right the wrongs of his past, to guide the next generation, and to break free from the shackles of rage and vengeance. Scorpion was robbed of a chance to show everyone he isn't just a fiery, rage-filled demon. He is more than that. He is a father, a leader, a friend, a mentor, and a warrior. He is Hanzo Hasashi. We are introduced to Scorpion in the first tournament in Mortal Kombat 9. Shang Tsung tells everyone who he is, and Scorpion, very bluntly, tells us why he's here.
Where is the Lin Kuei, Sub-Zero? He killed my family and clan. I will have his head.
He then beats Kung Lao and demands Sub-Zero. Shang Tsung says no and makes Scorpion fight Nightwolf next instead. Nightwolf tells Scorpion his anger is misplaced and that he knows what Scorpion is feeling. Scorpion doesn't care, he beats Nightwolf and demands Sub-Zero again. Quan Chi tells Scorpion to chill and Shang Tsung says he'll fight Sub-Zero soon enough. In this time, Raiden receives a vision of Bi-Han becoming Noob Saibot. He talks to Scorpion and requests that he doesn't kill Sub-Zero and that he will consult with the Elder Gods to restore the Shirai Ryu if he spares Bi-Han. Scorpion agrees, showing us for the first time that he is capable of reason and has free will, unlike most other Quan Chi Revenants. Shortly after this, he fights and defeats human Cyrax and Sector in a 2v1 after Cyrax, for reasons unclear, disses Scorpion and his dead, quote, inferior clan.
Your inferior clan is dead. Soon you will join them.
My clan may walk the earth once more.
Is after this fight where Scorpion finally gets what he wants, Sub-Zero. After a badass one-liner, he drags Bi-Han into the Netherrealm where they fight.
To hell with your clan. No, to hell with you!
Unfortunately, I think taking the fight here was a major mistake for Scorpion, as after his defeat of Sub-Zero, Scorpion, honoring the deal with Raiden, hesitates to kill Bi-Han. This is where Quan Chi further manipulates Scorpion by showing him the false flashback of Bi-Han slaughtering his family and clan. This enrages Scorpion and he kills Bi-Han, with Bi-Han's last words being, quote, "That wasn't me."
That is not me.
If Scorpion had kept the fight where it began, it would have been really difficult for Quan Chi to manipulate him into killing Bi-Han, though truthfully, I think he would have found a way to do so regardless of whether Raiden attempted to intervene in his manipulation or not. Regardless, I absolutely love this entire scene. It's done so well on a few different levels. First off, the "No, to hell with you" line while dragging Bi-Han to the Netherrealm just goes so damn hard. Then, afterwards, the humanity in Scorpion shows as he heeds Raiden's request. He attempts to spare Bi-Han's life despite all he believes he has done to him. This showing of restraint should have been, and honestly, I believe was, an attempt at a great foreshadowing moment to a redemption arc much later down the line for Scorpion. But unfortunately, yeah, we'll get there. And finally, this vision and Bi-Han's final words are an amazing, intentional, and subtle foreshadowing of what we find out in Mortal Kombat X, Quan Chi's lies and manipulation of Scorpion. This is a rare instance of NRS writers actually planning ahead for a future plotline, and it's done well. I wish they did more of this for other characters, or hell, just in general. After Scorpion kills Bi-Han, he returns to the group and shows Bi-Han's removed, charred skull and spine before teleporting away. It's important to note here the look on Scorpion's face when he does this. He looks like he's not happy, he's not satisfied, he's still guilty. He has his head down, he doesn't really want to make eye contact with anybody, and so to me, Scorpion feels bad about going against Raiden's wishes. He knew he messed up here already, but he just couldn't control himself. But then, the next time we see Scorpion, he is defeated by Kuai Liang in Shao Kahn's Coliseum. However, before Kuai Liang can kill him, Kuai Liang is snatched by the cyber Lin Kuei and taken to become cyberized. This will wrap up Scorpion's MK9 story, and overall it was pretty damn good. It was handled with care and has genuine build-up for a great continuation, one that would involve seeking true vengeance on Quan Chi, making amends with Kuai Liang and the Lin Kuei for killing Bi-Han, and then seeking redemption to become a better person. Mortal Kombat X came close to realizing this vision, but it's also where the cracks begin to form and Scorpion's story begins to go downhill. We first see Scorpion when he's fighting Johnny alongside a revenant Kuai Liang. However, his story really doesn't go anywhere until after his restoration into Hanzo, and we see him for the first time in Takeda's chapter. Between the time of his restoration and Takeda's chapter, Hanzo has nearly fully rebuilt the Shirai Ryu, raised and trained Takeda, and made amends and allies with nearly everybody in Earthrealm, including Kuai Liang. We learn of his newfound friendship with Kuai Liang in a flashback scene during Hanzo's infiltration of the Special Forces camp where they currently hold Quan Chi. 5 years prior to the current events, Hanzo was invited to the Lin Kuei temple to talk with Kuai Liang. Kuai Liang rants about how the Lin Kuei have been without honor for much longer than he had initially realized. They later travel to the dismantled corpse of Sector where they can see his cyber-preserved memories. One of which is a deal Sector made with Quan Chi to assassinate the Shirai Ryu in exchange for some payment. They never actually say what it is, so I'm not sure what was to gain here for Quan Chi, but regardless, the memory is important as it finally reveals the truth to Hanzo. It was never Bi-Han and the Lin Kuei that slaughtered Hanzo's family and clan, it was Quan Chi who had done it. Though yes, Sector and the Lin Kuei had some involvement considering whatever deal they made with Quan Chi, but the point remains, it was Quan Chi's doing and never Bi-Han's. After this flashback scene, we return to Hanzo in the Special Forces camp preparing to kill Quan Chi. However, as cool as this scene is, I have some problems with it. First off, the Special Forces captured Quan Chi because he is their only chance at restoring all of the Revenants. Liu Kang, Kitana, Smoke, etc. could all be restored if Scorpion just puts a pause on his vengeance and cooperates. I'm extremely confident that Sonya and the others would love to see Quan Chi dead just as much as Hanzo. However, despite Hanzo's experience as a Revenant, restored humanity, rebuilt clan, experience as a pseudo-father for Takeda, and at least 5 years' time to reflect on past mistakes and learn to not be blinded by rage, he still doesn't care to listen to Sonya and make a better choice. He could have easily just helped guard Quan Chi alongside the special forces until the Revenants were restored. Then, once they restored them, I am 100% sure that the special forces would turn over Quan Chi to Hanzo and let Hanzo kill him. This really gets under my skin because I can no longer believe that between killing Bi-Han and killing Quan Chi that Hanzo ever actually grew as a character. Outside of one line of dialogue in the flashback scene, he doesn't at all seem too remorseful about wrongfully killing Bi-Han.
I killed your brother because I thought he...
Quan Chi is responsible for Bi-Han's death.
We don't see anything outside of that scene that reflects his newfound relationship with Sub-Zero or how they made amends. And to top it all off, he is still the same old Scorpion here where he is blinded by rage and makes a major mistake in the pursuit of vengeance. So where exactly did Hanzo grow as a character? He's just as wrathful and rash as he was before he was restored. You'll see more on why I say that in a moment. Moving on, Hanzo beats the hell out of Quan Chi, but just before he's about to kill him, D'Vorah shows up with Shinnok's amulet and does this to Hanzo. I want y'all to remember this for later, and I'm sure you can see where I'm going with it. Anyway, Hanzo isn't fazed and pulls Quan Chi back in, dropping his signature, "Get over here," and cuts his head off. However, with his final moments, Quan Chi manages to break Shinnok free from the amulet and complete his mission. Hanzo is responsible for Quan Chi completing his mission since A, he unbound Quan Chi and freed him from his cell to fight and kill him. B, he tied up all of the Special Forces camp to keep them from intervening in his vengeance so they couldn't help stop it. And C, he decides to rush forward and 1v1 D'Vorah rather than commanding his men to swarm her or something. I mean, the Special Forces men were already tied up, so have someone help you, Hanzo, maybe? So anyway, in one of the rashest and poorly managed decisions I've ever seen in Mortal Kombat, Hanzo has single-handedly prevented the restoration of powerful friends and allies, allowed Quan Chi to restore Shinnok, and doomed all of Earthrealm. This scene is the last scene we see of Hanzo in Mortal Kombat X. Assumedly, he left to recover from his wounds and then left Earthrealm to fend for itself against Shinnok. A problem he created, mind you. Despite this, he doesn't feel the weight of that mistake at all going into Mortal Kombat 11. It isn't even a plot point. In fact, he doesn't have much of a story at all in Mortal Kombat 11, so, like most characters, his story only gets drastically worse. For the sake of clarity in this section, as there are two Scorpions in Mortal Kombat 11, I will refer to the current human Scorpion as Hanzo, and the MK9 past Scorpion as Scorpion. That said, let's begin. We first see Scorpion in Mortal Kombat 11 after Kronika has merged the timelines. Scorpion arrives with Jade at the Wuxi Academy in search of the Dragon Grotto, where they can use the Jinsei and the life force of Earthrealm to aid Kronika. So, to shorten things up a bit, Scorpion was pulled from the past so that Kronika can manipulate him and his rage into doing her bidding. Sound familiar? Yeah. So, everything Scorpion does until Hanzo's chapter is purely the same story structure as it was in Mortal Kombat 9. Blinded by rage, he is manipulated into doing the bidding of another bad guy and doomed to make grave mistakes. NRS had no idea what to do with Scorpion after Mortal Kombat X, like they did with pretty much everybody else, and so they recycled the same structure they used in Mortal Kombat 9. However, there is one neat change that I do like, and I will get to in a moment. For now, I will focus on Hanzo until we get to that part. We first see Hanzo as he aids Kuai Liang in preventing the resurgence of the Cyber Initiative, led by a cyberized, Kronika-manipulated Frost. They infiltrate the temple and beat up everybody inside, including Noob Saibot, Frost, and Sector. They restore Cyrax, and he helps sever the connections of the Cyber Lin Kuei. This part is much more Kuai Liang's story than it is Hanzo's, but I do like seeing them cooperate and fight together as it reflects their newfound relationship despite their history as rivals. A while after, in Hanzo's chapter, Hanzo leaves to enlist Charon's aid against Kronika. While he is there, he finds D'Vorah torturing Charon, and he fights her. He then faces Scorpion, who claims that the rebuilt Shirai Ryu is a, quote, clan of imposters. Scorpion is still blinded by rage and being manipulated by Kronika at this point. He fights for her under the false promise that the true Shirai Ryu will be restored in the new era. Hanzo attempts to talk Scorpion out of his manipulation by telling him to let go of his rage, and he will be saved as that's what saved Hanzo. I'm not really sure what Hanzo is talking about, as he's been a rage-blind, revenge-seeking, literal and metaphorical demon since Mortal Kombat 9, but he does have a point. To a degree, he did let it go, at least for a little while, long enough to rebuild the Shirai Ryu, raise Takeda, and make amends with Kuai Liang, so he does have a valid point. After their fight, he manages to get through to Scorpion. However, as he drops his guard to shake Scorpion's hand, D'Vorah pops out from behind him and stabs him with a poisonous strike to the ribs. Similar to this. Yeah, you guys remember that? Remember when I mentioned that earlier? Yeah. Scorpion does nothing to stop D'Vorah from killing his future self. However, he does fight her and scares her off after she stabs Hanzo. Hanzo passes his mission on to Scorpion with his final words and tells him it's heart, not blood, that makes the Shirai Ryu warriors. So, despite how mad I am that they killed Hanzo using a method he's already survived in the past, his death and ability to sway Scorpion out of his blind rage is the best thing about his Mortal Kombat 11 story. This Scorpion managed to let go of his rage and prevent himself from making a horrible mistake, something that Hanzo failed to do in both of the previous games. So I will give the writers props for this part, as I find it to be both moving and satisfying for Scorpion here. However, I will be holding a grudge over how stupid Hanzo's death is here for all of eternity. Whew. Moving on. Most of Scorpion's remaining story involves him trying to convince Raiden, Kuai Liang, and Liu Kang that he has enlisted Charon's aid and turned against Kronika at the request of Hanzo's dying wish. He fights each of them and takes a bad beating from Raiden, who nearly falls victim to the influence of Shinnok's amulet. Raiden keeps his cool, however, and they finally trust Scorpion. Afterwards, Scorpion is seen fighting with our heroes against Kronika and her army at the end of the game. With that, Scorpion and Hanzo's stories come to an end. The timeline is reset and they are wiped from existence. I'm well aware that Scorpion and Hanzo are present in some way in Mortal Kombat 1, just as aware as I am of Takeda's presence in Mortal Kombat 1. However, the new era versions of these characters are literally not the same characters as the ones I spoke about in this video. So yes, they were wiped from existence, this is where their stories end, and it's a shame that it ended so abruptly. Now that we know Hanzo's story, I'd like to give some of my own thoughts on how to improve it. First, I'd have liked to have seen Hanzo struggle with the wrongful killing of Bi-Han a bit more than we did. Not just because he wronged Kuai Liang and ended the life of his brother, but also because it cost him the one chance he had to restore his clan. It would have been great to actually see Hanzo try and atone for this mistake. In fact, it could have driven the revenge plot against Quan Chi. Imagine that during the events of Mortal Kombat X, he and Kuai Liang work together to seek vengeance on Quan Chi, as he is responsible for the suffering both of them have been through. During this journey, we could see Hanzo learn to quell his rage and think clearly through it, with the aid of the calm and pragmatic Kuai Liang keeping him in line. Through this quest of vengeance, we can actually watch their relationship develop as they turn from old rivals into brothers in arms. At the end of their quest, Kuai Liang could stop or prevent Hanzo from killing Quan Chi too soon, allowing them to restore their allies first before they get their revenge. On top of this, if you wanted to keep the Shinnok plotline intact, keeping Quan Chi alive for longer only helps Quan Chi in this task as well, so you could still find a way for Quan Chi to somehow release Shinnok before his inevitable death. Once this happens, you can have Shinnok's armies versus Earthrealms. Having the Lin Kuei and the new Shirai Ryu fight side by side to protect Earthrealm, this would showcase Hanzo's growth as a leader and further develop his ability to control his rage. It would also make his and Kuai Liang's relationship feel a bit more natural than it was in Mortal Kombat X, as we would actually get to see them bond over a common goal. As for the Mortal Kombat 11 portion, I prefer that Kronika and the time bullshit just never happened, and instead we followed a Dark Raiden civil war plot where Earthrealm divides into two sides. Those who seek conquest alongside Dark Raiden, and those who seek peace despite Dark Raiden. This can take Scorpion and Sub-Zero one of two ways. You can have them fight side by side on either of those viewpoints against the other viewpoint, or you can reignite their rivalry by having them choose opposing sides, pitting them and their clans against each other once again. so you can either continue the newfound allegiance or reignite the rivalry without resetting the entire timeline. There are a lot of other things you can add to this too. You could bring Noob Saibot back somehow to further stoke the fires of Scorpion's mistake. You could add in the resurgence of the Cyber Initiative through a Frost betrayal and have Scorpion aid Sub-Zero in fighting against that. Speaking of the Cyber Initiative, I also would have liked a more involved story about Kuai Liang restoring his and his clan's humanity, which could have also helped restore Scorpion's humanity. I mentioned this idea in a previous video, so if you want to hear more about my thoughts and story ideas on Kuai Liang or Dark Raiden, I have videos discussing each of them, which I'll link in the description below. But for now, this is what I've preferred to see from Scorpion's story. If you guys have your own ideas on how to improve these stories, I'd love to hear them, so please leave them down in the comment section below and tell us your thoughts. Despite the many flaws of Hanzo's story in the NRS era, I still find it to be my favorite in the series. It's a tragic tale of unrelenting determination to seek retribution for the wrongful death of Scorpion's family and clan. Though they left Hanzo with a less than fulfilling end to his story, were unable to meaningfully develop him post-vengeance, and gave him no real redemption for the mistakes of his past, it's still a memorable story that I am glad I got to experience. Without Scorpion igniting my love for vengeance stories, I'm not sure I'd have been so obsessed with the theme as I am now. Nearly all of my favorite stories ever told revolve around this concept of vengeance and its cost. God of War, John Wick, Moby Dick, and hell, even Egon's questline in Elden Ring are some of my favorite stories ever, and it all started here with Scorpion. So again, despite my frustrations with how his story unfolded, it'll always be one I hold close to my heart. That's gonna do it for today's video, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, please leave a like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you never miss an upload. It helps the channel a ton. I can't thank you guys enough for the support. It really helps the channel out, and it means the world to me. We've been growing at the best rate this channel has ever seen, and I can't thank you guys enough. I'll continue to try and improve the content with each upload as well, so leave any comments, questions, or suggestions down below. Any advice is appreciated. And remember, I don't make these videos to blindly hate on Mortal Kombat. I make them because I love Mortal Kombat, and I only want to see it improve. Big shout out to my members on the screen now. Thank you to everyone who made it to the end of the video. I love you guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.